The land of Akunbi had always been blessed by the river. Its gentle flow nourished the fields, filled the fishermen's nets, and provided water for the people. But the river held more than life. It held a secret that many feared and revered: Mami Adofo, the river queen. Legend said she ruled the waters with grace but also with fury, rewarding those who honored her and cursing those who forgot. For decades, the people of Akunbi had respected the ancient customs. Each year, during the Festival of Waters, they offered gifts to the river, thanking Mami Adofo for her protection. However, a terrible drought had swept the land. The river's flow weakened, and the fields dried out. Desperation led to defiance. The new king, Oba Emeka, decided to abandon the festival, believing that it was time to stop relying on myths and focus on modern solutions. That year, the festival did not happen. No gifts were given, no songs were sung. The people muttered uneasily, fearing the wrath of Mami Adofo. And soon, their fears turned into a chilling reality. On the night of the abandoned festival, strange occurrences began. The river, which had been thinning for months, suddenly swelled to unnatural heights. Dark clouds gathered overhead, and a howling wind ripped through the village. The once calm waters churned violently, and within the frothy waves, shadows could be seen moving, watching. Among the villagers, 19-year-old Adeola felt an uneasy pull toward the river. She had grown up hearing stories about the river queen from her grandmother, and she had always been drawn to the water. That night, as the winds raged, she dreamt of a woman standing in the river, her long dark hair flowing, and her eyes filled with sorrow. "The river demands justice," the woman whispered. "You must return what was lost." Adeola awoke with a start, her heart racing. The dream felt like a warning, and she knew deep down that Mami Adofo was calling her. With a heavy heart, she made her way to the riverbank. As she approached, she noticed something odd. The river was silent, unnaturally still. The winds had stopped, and everything felt frozen in time. Then, from the depths, she heard a soft voice, sorrowful yet commanding. "You must find the river queen's last tear." Adeola looked around, bewildered. She knew the legends well. The river queen's tears were said to be the source of the river's magic, but only one remained, the last tear, the one said to hold the river queen's deepest sorrow. If it were lost forever, the river would dry up, and with it, all life in Akunbi. Determined to save her people, Adeola set off on a dangerous journey to find the last tear. Armed with nothing but her courage and a small calabash given to her by her grandmother, she ventured deep into the heart of the river. As she swam further into the water, the shadows beneath the surface grew more menacing. The current pulled at her fiercely, but she refused to turn back. Suddenly, a hand as cold as the river's depths grabbed her ankle, dragging her down into the abyss. Beneath the water, she saw them, spirits of those who had disrespected the river, their eyes hollow, their skin pale and cold. They reached out to her, their moans echoing through the water, trying to pull her into their world. But Adeola fought them off, her heart pounding with fear. Just when she thought she couldn't hold her breath any longer, a voice broke through the chaos. "You seek what cannot be found." The voice belonged to Mami Adofo herself. The river queen appeared before Adeola, her face as beautiful as it was terrifying. Her eyes glistened with unshed tears, and around her neck hung a single tear-shaped pendant, the last tear. "Why do you seek it?" the river queen asked, her voice filled with ancient sorrow. "For my people," Adeola gasped, struggling to speak as water filled her lungs. "To save them." Mami Adofo studied her with piercing eyes. "Your people forgot me. They abandoned the old ways. And now, you seek my forgiveness." Adeola could feel the weight of her words, but she refused to back down. "They made a mistake, but they are my people. They are afraid and desperate. I ask not for forgiveness, but for mercy." The River Queen's face softened, if only for a moment. Mercy is not easily given, child. But perhaps there is hope in you. With a flick of her wrist, Mami Adofo touched the tear-shaped pendant, and it began to glow. Take this, she said, removing the pendant and placing it in Adiela's trembling hands. Return it to the river, and the waters will flow again. But know this is my final gift. The bond between your people and the river is broken. Once this tear is shed, it can never be reclaimed. Adeola nodded, her heart heavy with the weight of the task. She took the glowing tear and swam desperately toward the surface, her lungs burning for air. Just as she broke through the water, the storm resumed, and the river roared with fury. Without hesitation, she held the tear high above her head and let it fall back into the water. The river swallowed it with a hiss, and suddenly, the storm ceased. The waters calmed, and a gentle flow returned to the river. The village of Akunbi was saved, but the cost was great. The people would never again have the River Queen's favor. As the last tear disappeared into the depths, Adeola knew the old bond was gone forever. Mami Adofo's last tear had been shed, and with it, the final chapter of a once powerful alliance had ended.